Mr. Greenberg, Sheldon, believe me, I did not come here to embarrass anyone. I'm quite sure left to your own devices, you'll get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Anyone can see that you're a bright, perceptive man. I mean, a fascinating personality. Why, I can even see you inspiring a character in my next book.
No kidding. I just gotta say, Miss Fletcher, I mean, your books, they're okay. I read them all. So, just anything I can do to help.
Thank you, Sheldon. That's a very kind offer.
Good evening, Fletcherites. Welcome to the Cannabis Cove Confab Podcast.
What is that?
This is Sean.
This is Steve. Fletcherites?
Fletcherites. It's my own. I came up with it.
I see.
It's Murder, She Wrote fans. I couldn't figure out. I had to think of a name. I mean, there's Trekkies, there's Trekkers, there's Whovians, there's I don't know what Star Wars fans call themselves. I don't know what Columbo fans, but we're Fletcherites.
Columbo Files, I thought, wasn't it?
Columbo Files. You're absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah. We could be the J Beers or the
Yeah, we love cheap scotch. Or is that
a scotch?
Is that a bourbon? I don't know. I've never drank it.
Oh, okay.
All I know is I never drank Cuddy Sark again. Anyway, welcome to the next episode. Episode 14.
Wow.
14, Steve. Of the Cabot Cove Confab Podcast. We're going to talk about the first episode of Season 2 in a moment called Widow Weep For Me.
And guess what?
What?
It doesn't take place in Cabot Cove.
It doesn't take place in Cabot Cove.
No, it does not.
No. I'm sorry, Steve. I'm so sorry. We've only had one episode so far. Well, two, since it was a two-parter, but really one story.
One story.
Okay.
So you like to do pre-banter talk. So what are we pre-bantering about tonight?
Okay, three things. First things first, a big shout-out to April Haas and JPope53 for emailing us and letting us know that Lonnie Kazan, who was in Crimson Harvest, was also in Make Me a Perfect Murder, the Columbo episode. Now,
wait, Lonnie Kazan. What character was that?
Sorry. Wait, sorry. That was the matriarch,
Universal.
the mom in Crimson Harvest.
Oh, right.
Me not hitting the mute button. She was the matriarch, the head of the family in Crimson Harvest.
Right.
They're probably the fifth and sixth person to write about that. So I'm just saying, don't send us any more email about that. We already know. And this also means, apparently...
Which Columbo episode was she in?
Crimson Harvest.
No, the Columbo one.
Oh, Make Me a Perfect Murder.
Perfect Murder. I'm trying to remember that one.
Oh, God. We had this conversation before. It's the one with Trish Van Devere. She shoots her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend after he breaks up with her and doesn't give him her... It's the one, you have 3 more minutes. And she's got to go upstairs before it's time to change the reel, shoot her boyfriend, come downstairs, change the reel on the professional. And
I vaguely remember that. Okay. Let's watch that one again.
Cy Pressman, or whatever his name was in it, that was in last week's episode of Murder, She Wrote. I'm throwing up my hands, and there's 2 more tonight. You're not going to remember them. But anyway, so yeah, don't tell us anymore that Lonnie Kazan was in that episode of Columbo. We know it. And now I have to do my duty of finding everybody that was in a Columbo episode and every single Murder, She Wrote episode that we watched. Or otherwise, you're going to tweet at me or email me. Okay? So I've done my due diligence. There are 2 tonight. It's kind of really obvious when they played a murderer, like last week, but not so much this week. But okay, I just want to share a story there with you, Steve.
Sure.
I can't remember the last time I went to the movie theater, but and enjoyed not only a fine film,
about a month ago,
the wonderful. Shut up,
Steve. Went to the movies like a month ago.
What did I go see, Steve? That wasn't like a month ago.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It was more than a month ago. But I really enjoy the wonderful, wonderful taste of movie buttered popcorn, which I indulged in
Oh,
yesterday.
my God.
And I went to go see Scream 5. Scream 5. It was fine. I heard all these good things about it. And let me tell you.
Yeah, I've heard... No?
It's kind of... It's okay. I was never a huge fan of the original Scream movie. Because all the people are like, oh, it's so meta, it's, making fun of the horror genre. And my response to that is, people, go watch a movie from the early 80s called Student Bodies. And that movie does, for the horror genre, well, it's not as scary as Scream, but it never scared me either. I never thought that, that Ghostface was scary. Until I played Dead by Daylight. But, yeah, this one's... Go ahead, what?
No, I agreed with you, yeah.
Yeah. This one is a little bit more of the same. That's the bad news, but it is a little bit better than the first one still. I just can't get into that first movie. But let me tell you, when I went to the theater, you do this thing where you buy your tickets online, and then you go and you get the tickets printed out for you. At least they do this at Cinemark. And then they have the printed ticket, and then I have to give it to the girl that's guarding, and I say that in quotations, guarding the theaters, Like, even though I come back out, and I'm like, I'm going to get some more popcorn. All right. So, I give it to her, and, she's like 15, 16. She gets off her phone, and I'm like, well, I didn't say this, but I'm like, am I bothering you? No, really, it's a boring job. It's okay if she wants to look at her phone. She looks at the ticket. She goes, sir, are you old enough to see this alone?
Oh, she was flirting.
And I thought, you are going to do well in life, ma'am. No, what I said was, ma'am, I was old enough to go see the first one when it went out. Which is true. I was 21 years old when the first one came out. Now I'm 46.
God, you're old.
All right.
Well, let me tell you what I've been watching. So, we've discussed this off air a ton about the worst luck I have at movie theaters. Mm-hmm. But I signed up for
You mentioned it on the pod as well.
I have? Okay. I signed up for HBO Max primarily for a few reasons. I wanted to see 8-Bit Christmas with Neil Patrick Harris. Enjoyed that, by the way. It had some faults, but it was a fun movie. I thought, I'll watch Matrix Revolutions. Or what was the last Matrix called?
I don't know. What the fuck if I know? Matrix, I don't give a shit. That's what I thought, because I saw it in the theater. I don't remember anything about it.
It got such bad reviews, I still haven't watched it.
Yeah.
I did watch a few other things that are on that streaming service that I've always wanted to see. But yesterday, I just got kind of in a funk, and I thought, I'm going to watch more stuff that I'm interested in. First thing I watched was there's a 2-part documentary on what happened to Brittany Murphy. Really good.
Oh,
by the
really?
way.
That's right. You've mentioned this before. Yes.
I highly recommend it. I know the actress. A few movies and stuff that I've seen her in I always liked. I wouldn't say I've seen everything or know everything about her career, but I remember when she died. It was in the papers. But I didn't know much about it.
That's how long ago she died. It was in the paper.
Yeah, 2009. But I didn't know much about it, like who the suspects were, the weird behavior between her husband and her mother, how they became a couple. I mean, it's just weird. It's just a weird Hollywood murder mystery. And it was fun. It was good. Really good. It's 2 45-minute episodes. Enjoyed that. And I guess I first knew about Brittany Murphy from her voice work when she did the character Luann Platter from King of the Hill. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I always thought that character was endearing because Brittany's played it so well. But after that, there was a movie that I had been watching, and I think we talked about it once. I haven't finished it yet. I'm about halfway through, but it's called The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Oh my gosh, yes. You're talking about the live-action movie with... yeah.
Why would it be animated?
Well, no, that guy made a documentary called The Eyes of Tammy Faye back in the 90s.
Oh, okay. Then, this was a movie that came out like 2019 or 2020.
Yeah.
real recent, with Andrew Garfield playing Jim Baker.
Mm-hmm.
He is fantastic, by the way. And I forgot the actress who plays Tammy Faye, but she's really good too.
Jessica Chastain. Jessica Chastain, is that right?
I think so. Was she the girl in It Chapter
Yes.
2? Yeah.
Yes.
She's really good. Apparently they got their start doing like Christian puppet shows, which, if you know the character Luann Platter from King of the Hill, she had her little Christian puppets too, and she would do little Christian puppet shows that kind of went off the rails. I just thought that was interesting. Just a weird coincidence. These two things that have some kind of connection. But Isaac Tammy Faye so far, really enjoying it. I'm going to get back to it tonight. I did try watching Ready Player One because I thought that would be fantastic, because it has a lot of references to like Back to the Future, King Kong, Jurassic Park. I don't know if you know the story. It takes place in the future where everything's on VR, and so when people go into the video games, they see it's like the movie studios threw all their IPs in there to really kind of make it interesting. And so half of the movie seems to be in the VR world, which is computer animated, like even like they have avatars and stuff like that. But in the real world, you see real live actors. I couldn't get into it at all, and it's a Spielberg film too, I believe. I couldn't do it. I got about 20 minutes in and I turned it off.
Were they doing the fancy VR stuff yet? When 20 minutes in? I mean,
that's what bothered me. It just. I don't know. I'll try it again, but did not enjoy that. So, if you've watched it, if any of our readers have watched that film and they really liked it, tell me like why. Like, where does it start to get interesting? I guess because I just got bored.
All right, readers. That's So
that's what I'm in up to.
Maybe we'll get more emails now that don't mention Columbo or Lonnie Kazan. All right, I have one more thing. You know, we're here to help the readers. We're here to recommend films that they may enjoy, TV shows that they may enjoy, that we enjoyed.
I didn't know that's what we were doing. Okay.
But you know, the readers, they also look to us for health advice.
Oh, really?
And I made a not very healthy decision today. I made a not very healthy decision. And I just want the readers to know, readers, if you want to be healthy in life, do not go to the Chinese buffet. We have a place here in town called China Buffet.
And is it safe to go to a buffet during COVID?
Well, that's what somebody opined on Facebook, because I checked in there on Facebook, and a mutual friend that lives in Canada said, well, going to a buffet during the pandemic in a state where a governor wants you killed, I don't know. But they do give you plastic gloves to wear when you pick up the food. And we're not talking about the cool rubber gloves, that Columbo murderers wear. We're talking about those plastic gloves that are too big for you, so you just feel like a clown picking shit up. Anyway.
I went to a buffet place about 2 weeks ago. They had those as well at the beginning of the line. One, they ask you to wear your mask when you get in the buffet line. And then they have like a box of those gloves. You're supposed to put those on. No one was using the gloves, and no one was wearing a mask except me.
I think everybody's kind of over it. Like, okay, I've got my shots. Look out. If you haven't gotten your shots, you're on your own.
I figured after my second trip up, I'm like, I'm not wearing the damn gloves. If no one else is wearing the damn gloves.
Yeah.
What's the point?
So this is the thing. My partner, Tom, we go to, there's a Korean restaurant that we used to go to because we lived near it and we enjoyed it a lot. And we would go and, with friends, they would get Korean food. And they also serve sushi, and I would get the sushi, and Tom would be like, I hate sushi. I don't eat raw fish. Now there's sushi, and then there's sushi rolls, which don't necessarily have sushi in them. They'll have a California roll. It's got cucumber, cream cheese.
Those are delicious.
And but are they delicious at the Chinese buffet? Because I think if you make sushi, you should just concentrate on sushi. You don't have to worry about the chicken McNuggets or the beef with broccoli. No. Stay in your lane, sir. Well, they had sushi there, and Tom ate the sushi. And he's like, it's really good. You should try it. I'm like, whatever. You don't even know what good sushi tastes like. Stay in your lane, sir. So, but they do. They've got, For the kids, they've got like French fries and chicken McNuggets that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I've
the
been
beef
sitting
with
there
broccoli.
for probably 5 hours. Probably from the day before.
Well, no, wait, hold on now. Stay in your, it opened at 12, and we got there like 12:05, and you could tell all we got there like at the same time as all the other fat people, you know.
And was your partner? Was he the only Asian guy in the restaurant that was a patron?
Yes.
Because I don't think
I
think I've ever seen an Asian guy Asian person. A Pacific Island, whatever you want to call them.
No.
What's the PC way to say this?
Hey, just say Asian. Just say Asian.
Asian?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. It's disgusting. I mean,
I'm more likely going to see an Inuit at can I say that? Can I say that?
Sure, an Inuit. That's fine. Yeah. And it's like, about halfway through, I'm like, how much did this cost? I don't know how much this cost because they don't have the price posted. It turned out it was like maybe about 10 something or 12 something a person. So it's like, well, did I eat $12 worth of food already? Maybe I should go back. No, Sean, maybe you should sit your ass down and not eat anymore because it's full of carbs and things that can kill you.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah.
My partner, Tom, actually got up to get ice cream. That's where we are. And he's like, no, it's just like Jason's Deli because they have an ice cream machine at Jason's Deli. So he comes back with 2 ice cream cones. Actually, he came back.
He probably pushed a little kid out of the way, knowing Tom. Mine.
I don't think that he really wanted the ice cream. He wanted the cones because he had the cones, and then he just put like a teaspoon of ice cream in each one. There's vanilla in this one, chocolate in this one. Then just I love ice cream cones. He doesn't listen to this.
I tell you, I always want to go. I feel now we've turned into buffet talk. Whenever I go to a buffet, I always go and I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat so much. I'm going to get my money's worth. I don't know what happens. I'll get one plate, and after that, I'm like, oh, I'm so full. And the thing is, I'm not the guy who goes up and like has a pile high of food on my plate. Because my opinion is that you get a little of this and you get a little of that. It's almost like a little sampler. Because you can go back up as many damn times as you want.
Yeah.
I always see people walk away.
Yeah.
I always see people walk away from the buffet line with a foot tall mound of food.
Yeah.
All mixed together. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You can come back.
Yeah.
And not only that, you waste it. People don't finish all their food, so all that food goes to waste. I get just enough. Usually my second plate is a lot smaller than my first. Mm-hmm. And if I go for another, I typically can't make it past the second plate. But if I do, I just do smaller portions as I go. I don't understand the mentality of trying to load up. It's like end of the world in 20 minutes. You're gonna
our friend, this is his favorite restaurant. He'll remain nameless. But when we go and eat at these places with him, he piles us high. And it's like, does that look good? After you pile it high like that? That does not look good. That does not look good. Take it down, sir. So, yeah, don't go to the Buffet Palace, folks. I don't care how hungover you are. I don't care how hungry you are. Just go to the regular Chinese restaurant. Order yourself some,
good food.
Beef with broccoli. Get a crab rangoon. Dip it in that sweet and sour sauce that we need every once in a while.
But see, what I like about the buffet is that sampler aspect. Like, okay, I would like some chow mein, or maybe the next meal I want some sweet and sour chicken. Maybe the next time I want to go up, I want a little beef and broccoli. You know what I mean? You can kind of. It's a sampler to me. It's
okay. I agree. You know what's a sampler is this conversation because we've been going 17 minutes without talking about Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, right. We need to move.
There's somebody in Poughkeepsie right now I believe this is a Murder, She Wrote podcast. Why aren't you talking about Murder, She Wrote? I listened to one of the other Murder, She Wrote podcasts, and they just fucking dive into it. And there's 4 of them on that podcast. Cabot Coverage. They did Northern Explosion a couple episodes ago. Well, Jolly D, we just did this one. So I listened to it, and
let's get into it. Let's dive in.
They were very professional. They were very professional. So I suppose we should start. Okay, Widow, weep for me. Widow, weep for me. Steve, take it.
So we start off in not Cabot Cove. It does start with a C. It's the Caribbean.
Yeah, but it's not in real life. It was filmed on location in Hawaii, Oahu.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
the
didn't know
Turtle
that.
Bay Resort, or maybe it's the Turtle Beach Resort. But yeah,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So it's an exclusive, maybe an all-inclusive hotel in the Caribbean for elderly Harrises. If you're old, white, and wrinkly, and you got a lot of money, and you like
And
to
jewels.
wear, and you like to wear, what do they call those things that was on Jessica's head? That bouffant-looking thing.
a tiara,
Was it tiara?
the
No,
little crown.
tiara is a jewel. No. I'm talking about. She had like a scarf.
Oh,
her hair
like a
up in a scarf.
baklava. A baklava.
No, baklava's the pastry.
Fuck. Then I don't know. No, you're thinking. Oh no, balaclava. Baklava is a pastry. You're right.
Yeah.
Balaclava is like a little scarf that goes around your neck. I think.
Let's talk about baklavas, by the way. They are so delicious.
Never liked
Yeah.
them. Never liked them.
Really? Oh my
I don't
god!
know
Now,
why.
I could
just.
if they had that at the buffet, I would pile on a plate. I would just take the whole damn.
And you got to use
tray.
the bathroom after that, not for because your hands are going to get sticky because you got to eat that with your fingers sometimes, and it's just honey. Anyway, so we meet somebody.
Have you ever had that with vanilla ice cream? Oh my
No.
god!
I usually don't do
Heaven
dessert.
on earth.
Now we've been to Hawaii, and I thought, oh, this looks just like the resort we stayed at Hawaii. Turns out they all look the same. They're just
Oh.
owned by different outfits. They all look the same. So there's this lady. Her name is Antoinette.
Yes.
And I guess she's French, but you can't
Yes.
tell from the jewelry. We don't hear her speak. She's writing a letter to Jessica. I've written a letter to Jessica. That's from a movie. And RFD number 3 is Jessica's address. I'm not sure what that means, but maybe it means something in Maine. And as she's about to mail the letter, or she mails the letter, and then she is accosted by someone
Well-
in black.
So someone is watching her finish up the letter at night, by the way, and it's obviously a request to help. Jessica needs to help her. By the way, Jessica is the worst friend. We've discussed this. If Jessica's your friend, you need to find a better friend because it just doesn't work out ever. So she goes out to her room to mail the letter or mail the envelope. I guess there's a mail slot in the hallway of the floor, and she comes back, and the patio door is open. Now, what would you do? I'm just going to ask you, Sean. What would you do in that situation? Would you start thinking, did I leave the door open, or would you just go closer to go investigate?
I think
Or
I would.
Or would you get the fuck out of the room?
I would get the fuck out of the room and go to hotel security, which
Right.
may be some help.
Won't be helping this. Well, we find out why that wouldn't be useful. But yeah, I'm thinking leave. Don't know. It's kind of like watching some of those horror films when people walk into a room where the killer's just waiting for them. Oh my god. So JB shows up, or Jessica shows up, but she's incognito. She is impersonating Marguerite Canfield, which is some wealthy, snobby, wealthy recluse that no one's ever seen.
From
Now,
Alabama.
From Alabama. I don't know why she's doing this. I think she explains it, but I still, even after the explanation, I just don't understand why, Sean, is she doing this?
Okay, so she's doing it because at this point, and we're talking about the beginning of season 2, apparently Jessica has reached movie star notoriety. And she's afraid that if she checks in... by the way, this won't work in real life. If you check into a hotel using, my name is Clem Kaditterhopper, and you show up and you don't have an ID that says you're Clem Kaditterhopper, you're not going to get into the hotel. At least not a respectable hotel like this, So she's pretending to be somebody else. It's because she's afraid that if she makes a reservation in her real name, like the hotel staff is going to be like, JB Fletcher is here, JB Fletcher is here. But it turns out she's not really there for a vacation. She's there to help her friend Antoinette, whose letter she doesn't read until she actually gets to the fucking hotel.
No. No. She does read it because she reads it to the inspector.
Oh, that's
over
right.
the
I'm
phone.
sorry.
Yeah, because she even says, "Well, what do you think?" Because after I read it to you over the phone, so there was that. But yeah, we're introduced to the chief inspector, Claude, I forget what his last name, Rensselaer.
Roncelot or something like that.
Yeah.
Roncelot.
I think it's funny. She's unpacking. So Jessica's now in her room alone. She's unpacking her stuff. I think she pulls out the letter, I guess, to reread it to herself. And chief inspector is just standing in the background, blurred out. I'm like, what the
really? Yeah.
How? Why? Did he just let himself in?
Yeah.
Is he the killer?
Am I in Live or Let Die?
What?
Just think about it for a second. Anyway, we'll move on.
I know what you mean, but I just don't know why. Okay. So he knows it's Jessica right off the bat. And I think that's interesting. Now, what if that wasn't Jessica? What if it was somebody else? That would be even more awkward.
Well, what they don't explain is there was a mix-up, and he went to 3 other rooms, and 2 of them slapped him in the face. Like, I'm not that person. One of them pretended to be Jessica, and it went 2 hours before he realized it wasn't Jessica, and then he got the right room number and he went there.
Finally. Yeah. So he asks, even though he knows, he asks, well, what are you doing here? And she says, well, I'm here to investigate the murder of Antoinette, whatever her last name is. And she says, I believe it was foul play. Now, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting word for word here, but I think it's interesting because she's saying she wants to solve the murder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the chief inspector's like, well, you came here. You didn't need to come here. It's not what you think. It was just a robbery and murder. I'm like, right? That's why Jessica's there to solve the murder. So I didn't understand why he was trying to convince her that it was something less. When even if it wasn't some grand conspiracy, she still was murdered, right?
Yeah,
so Jessica would still be there to solve the murder.
Well, the thing is that if it was burglary, then the killer could be just some hood. But she doesn't think that the motive is burglary because Antoinette wrote her a letter before she was killed.
She's still going to show up and find out what happened. She wants to find out what happened, even if the murder was a simple robbery. I just found that a bizarre conversation.
Okay.
Like, you came here for nothing. It was just a simple robbery.
By the way, once you know who the killer is, why would Antoinette suspect that her life was in danger?
I think she probably initially was talking about Sven.
Okay, so she actually thought her life was in danger by somebody. That's a good point. Okay, all right.
I'm guessing. I don't know. That's a good point. Why would she think that? Okay, so Jessica or Mrs. Canfield goes down to the casino, and we meet Eric Brahm. Now, he's the hotel manager, and he's kind of notorious with flirting with all the wealthy, single women.
But it's what you do.
Yeah, right.
And I have got to mention, he's been in Columbo. So, batter it down, ladies and gentlemen. I know he's been in Columbo. He was in an episode called Requiem for a Falling Star. Remember that one? That's the one with, I'm just going to tell you what it is instead of waiting for you to say no. That's the one with the falling, the washed up actress who lives on the lot. And
is that the one with the fallen actress who, she lives on the lot, right?
She's got a fountain out back. And
she's got a fountain out back, and
then her
secretary,
her husband. She lights her secretary on fire, and you think she's trying to kill the gossip columnist played by Mel Ferrer, who plays the hotel manager in this one. He plays Jerry Parks, the gossip columnist. It's a rather forgettable episode, not one of my favorites. You don't hear a lot of people talk about that one too much, but yeah. But 2 seconds later, we meet Mrs. Alva Crane, Columbo sighting number 2. She's played by the rather quirky Mary Wicks, who you may have seen on The Match Game. That was one thing she did in the 70s. I don't know of any other movie that she's been in. She's very Ruth Gordon-like. But she was in the episode of Columbo called Suitable for Framing, in which Dale Kingston kills his uncle and his girlfriend to inherit his uncle's art collection. She played the girlfriend's neighbor or nosy landlady. And there's a scene where Columbo shows up at her apartment, and he wants to ask her about who the lady knows. She ends up showing him all her pictures, and she won't shut up. It's about a 3 or 4 minute scene. It's very funny because Columbo just wants to get the hell out of there, and she's doing Columbo to Columbo.
Yeah, I know you would recognize her. She's just one of those actresses. She's been in probably a lot of stuff. You just can't think of it, but she's definitely got that face you recognize.
Well, she was old in the 80s, and her profile pic in IMDb is from an old movie. She was very pretty. She's obviously been in a lot of stuff. But she takes blood pressure medicine. She takes the blood pressure medication out of her purse, and we see a clue because it's so obvious
it's the most important clue out of the whole episode.
Yeah. And she's like, I need a glass of water. Get that boy in the tight pants to bring out a glass of water because I need to take my blood pressure pill.
Sounds like
no, I take mine in the morning. You don't have to take them anyway. Then we meet.
Well, no, hold on. You didn't say what was in the purse. It was a safety deposit box key.
That's right. Yeah. At first, I thought it was just, it's a key, and we don't find out later.
Room.
Yeah, even though it doesn't look like a key to a hotel room, it looks like a key to like your basement door or something like that. And I don't even mean a hotel room in the 80s. It looks, because hotel room keys in the 80s were just regular keys. Nowadays, they give you those pieces of plastic that work about, maybe 73% of the time. And you're like, come on, work. Until it goes, dee. Oh, thank God. Be sure not to close it all the way when I go down to get ice for the booze. Guys, when you go to hotels, how many of you still get ice for the booze? Raise your hand. Are you raising your hand, Steve?
Yeah. I like getting ice.
Okay, well, you've
That's
also
the first thing I do. Once I get settled in my room, I look for the ice maker.
This is true. I have done this. I've stayed in hotel rooms with Steve, and he does look for the ice maker. I am afraid of the ice maker. I'm sorry.
What?
I will deal with the ice. I will use it to keep things cold.
What are you afraid of?
It's because it's like, okay. So we talked about the Chinese buffet. You can go out to the Chinese buffet and, you can't do anything because there's people watching you. Imagine if there was just one station at the buffet and you had to go into the other room by yourself to get it and you didn't know what people were doing. I mean, people could put anything in that ice. There could be, a dead animal in there, or somebody put a severed hand in there, or whatever, and then you don't know. You're like,
Or Lisa Lamb, and she might be in there.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. This is really good vodka. I'm really enjoying this. Let's get drunk. And then the next day the police are there. Hey, what happened? And the lady at the front desk is, they found the body of a dead baby in the ice. And then you're like, holy shit. I was drinking parts of a dead baby.
As far as I'm concerned, hotel rooms are cesspools. I just assume we've talked about this, but there's blood and cum everywhere. Carpet.
Okay.
It's in the pillow you put your head on. It's on the sheets.
It is.
It's on the
everywhere.
toilet seat when you sit down. So the toilet paper that you're wiping your butt with.
But you are ingesting the ice. You are not ingesting the pillow covers or the bidet or anything else in it. I will tell you the grossest thing.
Oh, I thought those were water fountains.
Never mind. I meant the bedspread. The bedspread. 2 grossest things I've ever seen in a hotel. Number 1. I was staying at the Executive Inn in Castro, Texas. Or maybe it was Castro County, Texas.
I didn't know there was a Castro, Texas.
It's okay. I've never heard of it either. And an Executive Inn, and I was staying in a room the size of my actual room at home. And when I went to go take a shower, there was a spot of blood on the bath mat. And I was like, okay, I can deal with this like, a jerk. Or I can just move on, and I just moved on because, really, this place was a cesspool.
Probably because the previous person had his kidney stolen, and he was in that bathtub with a bunch of ice, a day ago.
Yeah, there was nothing but, truckers and gentlemen who had obviously been evicted by their wives for being too drunk at this place. There was a barbecue grill outside in, a quote-unquote playground. Nobody's going to go use that. Nobody's going to play in the... It was just a sad, haunted place.
Probably just a bunch of needles on the swings.
Exactly. But one time, I did stay at a hotel. It was either in Dallas or Houston. classy place. And I brought my video game system with me, and I wanted to sit in a proper chair, and I grabbed the chair, and it was a regular seating chair, not the desk chair. Pulled the chair towards the TV, and there was a condom on the floor underneath the chair.
Ew.
And I didn't say anything. I just took some tissues and flushed it down the toilet, which is not a good thing to do. I don't think you're supposed to do that.
No.
So
I would have called room service, say, there's a used condom.
I know.
It's not mine.
And you know what?
I need another room.
I don't think it was used. I think it was... Or maybe it had been used a long time ago. But anyway, please.
Had it gone all crusty and was stuck to the carpet?
I didn't test it! Okay. So Veronica. We've got Veronica... Veronica Harold. She's the... I put down her description as the young day drunk.
Yes. I like her already.
Yeah. And her boyfriend Sven. We're not really introduced to at first. We're just introduced to her, so it's like, okay, she's the important one that we need to know. But she's happy and friendly, and she's drunk. She walks up to the what are they playing with the wheel?
Roulette.
The roulette, and she's like, how about number 17? That was my classroom in high school. And Sven's like, I think we should put you to bed.
She's a teacher, and she's talking about where she taught. Her room for her children was room 17.
That's right, in Iowa.
Right. Okay. So
the big question is, what does this young, dashing Sven see in this ordinary Iowa school teacher?
I thought she was attractive.
That will come up. Well, okay.
Yeah. She doesn't have money. Obviously, everybody there has got wealth, and everybody's playing the field. It seems like everybody in that casino is playing the field. They all know who each other are. They've all had drinks together, maybe been on dates, had group sex. She was kind of out of the ordinary. She was young, and if she was a teacher, well, we know what teachers get paid.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So, a little odd that she's there.
Speaking of teachers, Jessica gets hit on after sitting at the roulette table for like 5 minutes. It's like, can I please just play roulette? And some guy comes up to her and offers her a pina colada.
You're talking about Michael Haggerty.
That's it, Michael Haggerty. Now, remember this guy because I think he may be in future episodes, if memory serves.
Yeah, he wanted a little bit of the Fletcher, huh?
Yeah, he was a Fletcherite. Wait, now's the time that I should probably say, and I think I cheated in the text that I sent you. I saw this before. At one point or another, I had season 2 of Murder, She Wrote in DVD. Mm-hmm. And as I'm watching this, I suddenly realized I thought it was going to be a different episode that I'd seen, but it turns out it's one that I just didn't remember. And while I'm watching it, the identity of the murderer suddenly came to me. And I'm just kind of curious if at one point did you suspect who the murderer was, or who did you suspect, or,
I didn't suspect until I would say probably a little bit about Midway, when it was so obvious. There's only one person it really could be.
Yeah, this is like last week when it was, what's his name, Barry. Like, it must be the guy who shot the gunman because, he could make sure that the gunman was out of the way. Yeah, it's really obvious. And Michael Haggerty is this Irish playboy, and he's flirting with Jessica, and he even invites her to his car. And in the midst, they're strolling the grounds of this Caribbean resort. Actually, I'd rather go to Hawaii than the Caribbean. Much cleaner. And some scalawag steals Jessica's purse. And then right then and there, they're intercepted by hotel security, the hotel dick, if you will.
Yeah, Dr. Johnny Fever.
Thank you. From WKRP in Cincinnati, that's Howard Hessman as Sheldon Greenberg, hotel security.
Yep.
You know him as Dr. Johnny Fever. I know him as the guy at the end of Clue, the guy that comes in and makes the arrest.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
They all did it. Yeah. No, he doesn't say that. He's the one that pretends to be a preacher. Your lives are in danger. Our lives are in danger, you beatnik. Okay. Yeah, that's who he is.
He's been watching Jessica, and now Jessica's wearing. I'm just referencing Jessica, even though she's playing. Yeah, what did I say was the character? Canfield. I'm just going to refer to her as Jessica, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But she's wearing a lot of expensive jewelry, which is fake, that we find out later. But she's kind of drawing attention to herself. I guess she wants to draw the murderer out because she feels like that was the reason her friend Antoinette was killed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the house detective, Sheldon, he obviously notices her, and so he's been, I guess, trailing her, and he sets up a kind of like a little mini sting where someone steals her purse, and they kind of fake this whole thing. I guess he wants to find out who she is. But anyways, Michael and that's when Michael and Jessica take that romantic walk after a couple of pina coladas, which very romantic.
Woo! This is like the dandelion wine. Woo!
But yeah, the next morning. We should say that the chief inspector says he'll report it to the police.
And he doesn't.
Inspector. I'm sorry, no, the house detective.
Not the chief inspector. The whole
inspector.
Yeah, Sheldon. Yeah, I'll report. And she calls him immediately after. There happens to be a telephone booth in the middle of the beach, which I don't think was really.
Well,
there.
This is the next day, next morning. Yeah,
next morning, and she's talking to Inspector Rensselaer, which I'm mispronouncing his name, but he's like, "No, he didn't report anything. I don't know what you're talking about." By the way, did you check out his office? I mean, it's obviously the man has no air conditioning, but he's got a really nice, fancy office.
I like it.
I like it when people in offices in movies or TV shows like have a fancy office, and they're sitting there working at their desk, and they just have like one piece of paper. Do you ever notice this? And he's got a fucking fan, not an electric fan, but like a fan. Those big,
yeah. Made out of wicker or something. I'm not sure what that material was called.
It's like,
but it's the complete opposite from Huh?
Well, good God, man, get out of that suit. Put on a shortened T-shirt to work. You don't have to be dressed up like that. It drives me crazy in movies. It's too hot to wear that.
His office was definitely drastically different than the episode we reviewed last week, Broadway Malady.
Oh yeah.
Where the sergeant had like mounds of paper just piled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was busy. He didn't want the murder to be like a real homicide. He was like, I've got too many cases. So we talked to Veronica. They sit down. Her and Jessica sit down.
Jessica invites her to for some drinks, and she orders a pair of iced teas, right?
And Veronica at first wants to order a gin fizz or something like that, and Jessica's like, no, let's have iced teas. I'm like, Jessica, her tongue is gonna, she's gonna be more loose to talk if she's a little drunk. I don't know if Jessica realized
right?
That, but,
she even admits to it. She's like, oh, you're the teacher from Iowa. She goes, oh, I got a bit windy. I was drunk last night. Yeah. She even tells you buy me some drinks, and I'll tell you anything.
Yeah. Turns out that her and Sven got there. They both won contests that they don't remember entering in.
I don't think Sven won. No, she won. Okay, so Veronica won this trip for one, which was very suspicious, by the way, from a supermarket, which is suspicious number 2 because I've never heard of a vacation that you could win from a supermarket. Maybe they did that in the 70s and 80s. They don't do that now.
Yeah, I don't think
they would.
Yeah, but she doesn't even remember entering it, and it reminds me of that Tales from the Crypt with Demi Moore, where she wins the lottery, and then what does she do? She ends up getting married to like a big fat guy, and she wins the lottery, so she kills him. Anyway, that was a long time ago. So
but, I think Sven, he's a what do you call it?
A gold digger. A gold digger.
He's a playboy that travels the world, right? Mainly in Europe. And he met Antoinette, and he knew Antoinette very well. They were lovers, I assume.
Yeah.
But he showed up there. He said he just showed up and saw Antoinette there, and then met Veronica through that relationship. But I thought it was interesting because I'm kind of going to take a little bunny trail over here to the right.
Okay.
I was watching on a YouTube channel talking about movie props. and how they get things, how they make things that look ordinary to you and I, but are actually really sophisticated movie props. For example, like a paper bag at a grocery store. They don't use regular paper bags in movies, because if you would, then you would hear all the crumbling, and it would go over their line. So they make a special kind of paper, and then they wet it down. It looks dry, and it looks like a paper bag, but in reality, it doesn't make any sound at all. And they also said another trick they do is ice cubes. You cannot have real ice cubes in drinks. So when you see in a movie they're drinking something that has ice in it, that's not real ice. It's some kind of plastic. Yeah, because then you have that.
Yeah.
Well, they don't slurp, but they make a kind of special plastic that looks identical to ice, but it makes no sound at all. It's kind of sound dampening. And if you notice, the reason I bring that up, not because I want to lose listeners, but the reason I bring that
too
up,
late for that. Oh, wow.
is that in that iced tea there was no ice.
Oh.
So I guess
girl.
wouldn't clank over their lines. I don't know. I just found that
It's either that, or they just assumed they were European and they didn't want ice in their drinks.
maybe.
I'm just going to say, I remember as a kid, well, no, maybe as an adult, like shopping at Crate and Barrel, and they'd have, say, a dining room table, and they'd have the fake food out. Oh, I love playing with that fake food. You know what I'm talking about, right?
You're talking about the wax stuff?
Yeah.
And there was always somebody who took a bite out of the apple. You ever notice that? There was always teeth marks embedded in the wax. They couldn't take the bite out, but it was just teeth marks.
And you noticed it because you were 5, and you were like, well, I'm going to... Oh, somebody already did it. There's germs on it. I thought this was a perfectly clean apple. It was true. No, 45, not 5, right? Ladies and gentlemen, it's not really wax fruit. It's plastic fruit. Stop calling it wax fruit. Nobody has had wax fruit since 1754. It's just made out of plastic.
Wow, that long ago. That's quite amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So we do also discover that Veronica was befriended by Antoinette the moment she stepped onto the hotel property. It's almost like she sought her out, and they became the best of friends. And just really kind of, she said she was really friendly, and that's when Sven started, I guess, becoming really friendly with her as well.
And Veronica points out Myrna Montclair, who introduced herself to Jessica as soon as she arrived. I thought Myrna Montclair was like one of the hotel managers, but no, she's a famous actress.
Well, I think she works there. She works there to some aspect. I don't know what she is.
No, I thought that she was a guest.
No, because remember she pops up and she goes, "Oh, my previous career, I was a movie star or worked in film." Or, yeah.
Okay, but what does she do?
Dallas.
Does she just like play tennis with? Okay,
maybe she's like, what do you call the people on, like on the Love Boat where you had the woman? She was like the events manager or the what do they call those people?
Hospitality manager.
Maybe that, or they would coordinate events and activities.
But they have that. Okay, I may be wrong.
What was Julie doing on the Love Boat? It was her.
I don't know. I don't know anything about the Love Boat. I really haven't seen a single episode of the Love Boat since the 80s. Wow. The Love Boat.
It's on Pluto TV. They have their own channel.
Oh,
plays
wow.
24/7.
Okay. Mm-hmm. They have their own channel of classic doc. They need a Columbo channel, I'm telling you.
They do.
They do?
No, they I agree with you. They should. Yes, they.
Okay.
I wish they would. They do need that. Yeah.
You can watch it on IMDb though. They have. You can watch Murder She Wrote on IMDb too. At least the first few seasons. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say Eric Braun is investigating on Michael Haggerty because he's found out that he's run up quite a tab. And so he did some research and found out there is no Michael Haggerty that is like the Scotch Baron from Ireland. And so he's like, well, who are you? And you've got this outstanding tab. So we learned that Michael Haggerty, he admits it's just a personality I made up for my vacation. And hands over a $25,000 check to Eric that's made out to Eric to kind of settle any outstanding bills. And I'm like, holy shit. Well, I would love that. If someone, you rang up a tab of, let's say, $10,000, and someone gave you $25 and said, just take care of it for me. I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah. So Jessica goes to visit with Sheldon Greenberg, the security guy.
Yes.
He's got his own office, and she comes to visit him because she sees him talking with the guy who stole her purse the night before.
Yeah, he was just talking to her, yeah.
So obviously that was a sham, and she wants to find out why. And actually, does he explain to her why? He does. He kind of comes clean. But he also
who she was. Yeah,
yeah, he knows who she was.
I think that was a scam. By the way, I'll explain. I guess I'll explain that later. I don't think he was looking for her passport because he had her book on his desk, so he knew he could visually identify who she was. I think he was looking for jewelry in her purse or something that would allow him, like a safety deposit box key or something that he could utilize. I think that's what he was looking for. But yeah, so he was behind the fake purse robbery.
Really, if he wanted to continue with it, he should have just at least taken the cash out, because who steals your purse and just ditches it and takes off, you know?
Right. But yeah, she even calls him out. It's like, look, I know you're full of shit. Well, she doesn't. That'd be great if she did cuss, but no. She basically says, I know that you're not telling the full truth. And he says, well, I'm not the only one. I know you're J.B. Fletcher. And he pulls a book off his desk. Now, I paused the book so I could see the spine, the title of the book itself. Have you done this?
No, I did not do that. Let me see.
So the name of the book is Dirge for a Dead Dachshund.
Oh, yes. Okay, so last episode we watched, do you remember the final moment in the episode? When
there was a lot of books. Yeah,
yes.
I remember. Yeah, uh-huh.
And it's there. It's there if you look closely. Dirge for a Dead Dachshund. I remember that. Because at a certain point during the first season, it seems like the only book that she's written is The Corpse Danced at Midnight. But there's more. So I don't know if she wrote a number of books, and then The Corpse Danced at Midnight was like the big hit, and then she became like the new Agatha Christie all of a sudden. I don't know. But yeah.
So we also learned that Sheldon is also an ex-police officer.
Yeah. So what do you think about Sheldon now? I mean, is it like... Spoiler! It's Sheldon Greenberg, by the way. He's the killer. Was it really obvious that he was the killer, or was it just because I remember him being the killer?
I think when you find out... I think after the murder of... who was the woman with the blood pressure medicine?
Elva Crane.
After her death, that's when it's like, okay, it makes sense. Because you see that... I think they can't... Is it because they can't find the safety deposit box key? Or it's out in the open? It's not in her purse?
Out in the open. It's because Jessica saw it in Alva's coin purse, and then after Alva is killed, she goes to the room, and the inspector actually points it out. It's right there on her bedside table, out and about. So that means that whoever killed her took the key out of her coin purse. But since nobody used the safety deposit boxes, according to Sheldon, that means that Sheldon was the one. I don't know. The lady could have taken it out of her coin purse and put it down on the table. If I was the murderer and like Columbo was here and he was like, well, why would she take the security deposit key or take the safety deposit key out of her coin purse and put it at the table? And be like, well, Lieutenant, I'm not really sure. She didn't know she was going to be murdered. Perhaps she was going to change out her coin purse. I mean, there's a million different reasons you would take the key out of your coin purse and put it next to you.
In the episode, it is trying to give you a lot of misdirects, too, by the way. So
too many
misdirects. The big suspects are Eric Braun, the hotel manager. To me, these are the two big ones. Him and Sven. Because it's a little suspicious why he's dating Veronica or going out with her. Yeah. So those are the two. But then again, it wouldn't make much sense because she has no money. So why would he? If he was a jewel thief, you'd think he'd be targeting the older ladies. Or also, no, and then the third would have been Michael Haggerty. Because he's been lying this whole time, and he does seem to be very aware of everybody and their activities.
So Jessica, for some reason, agrees to go with Michael out to. She's going to meet somebody at a restaurant. I think I can't remember.
No. So she wants to discuss the case further with the chief inspector, and so she calls him, and he says, "Okay, we'll meet at Turtle Bay." And as she's leaving the hotel, that's when Michael pulls up in his Lexus convertible, and and offers to drive her, and so.
And they're driving, and it's all windy, and she takes that opportunity to pull out some papers, some letters that I think it was that Antoinette drew up. It's like, don't take out the papers while you're driving in a convertible. This is the worst possible time to look at papers. Stop it. And they're being followed, too. So Michael does some jiggery-pokery with the car, and he pulls aside, and he almost escape from this car, but they eventually get them, and it's one of the inspector's men, and he's like, Mrs. Fletcher, there's been another murder. Really?
Yeah, because he's like, who are you? I know you're not this recluse woman. I've met her, and not unless you've shrunk, or not unless you've grown 5 inches, or something like that. Like, you are not her. Who are you? And that's when the police officer pulls up and he goes, Miss Fletcher, and
the thing is, Jessica, maybe you shouldn't have impersonated a real person. Maybe you should have just made up a pseudonym or something. I mean, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, Michael knew he had met her, and obviously that was not the case. So he's curious who she is. We get a little bit more about Antoinette's past. Obviously, he knows a lot about her, which is unusual. So he is kind of suspicious.
And she goes back to the hotel.
That's right, 'cause there's been a murder. So
that's right, there's been a murder. The weird lady was killed, Mrs. Crane, and she is quick to point out that if she was killed for her jewels, it wasn't for what she was wearing at the casino that night, because Jessica knows that the jewels that she was wearing at the casino were paste. So if she had jewels, they must have been somewhere else. So let's look at her safety deposit box.
Right.
Her safety deposit box is full, and in it is her passport, her airline tickets, and a couple other things that you bring with vacation.
$1,000 in cash.
Yeah, $1,000, and I don't know what else, but safety deposit boxes in hotel rooms nowadays, every room has a safe, and you can program the safe when you come in. So I guess in olden times, before we were the ones checking into the hotel rooms, they had safety deposit boxes.
Olden days, yeah.
Yeah. So this means that Mr. Greenberg, the security guy, has access to all of the safety deposit boxes. Murderer, hello.
Yeah,
I think it might be him.
On him. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's another reason you think it's him, because you find out that everybody has a secret except for him. And perhaps the biggest secret of all is that Veronica is none other than Antoinette's long-lost daughter. And that Michael is working for her father, who she's never met.
Grandfather.
Her grandfather, I'm sorry.
So, well, first of all, I think it's interesting, before we go in that direction, that at this point, everybody knows that J.B. Fletcher, or Jessica, is indeed Jessica. Like that whole disguise or whatever, everybody's now onto her. But Michael walks in, and he's like, well, now I know who you are. So he says, let's talk about what we each know. So they go out for a walk, and that's when we discover that Antoinette had a child from her first marriage, which her father did not approve, and so they got annulled. And there was a child from that what's the word I'm looking for? Wedlock
union,
wedding.
We'll call it.
Union. Yeah. But the father disavowed the grandchild, and so Veronica gave it up. Yeah, and then that's we discover that at some point Antoinette found out. Oh no, the grandfather he had mellowed over the years, and decided he wanted to meet his granddaughter. I guess because I don't know, he's gonna die. I don't know. But so Veronica sought her out and set up you want a one person trip to the Caribbean. So that was all a grand plan to get her to this location, get Veronica to that location.
And Sven was hooking up with Antoinette, and Veronica showed up, and then he showed up a little bit after Antoinette was killed, and then he knew Antoinette's real identity, so he arranged it that she would meet him and she would fall in love with him.
Yeah, he knew that Antoinette had a daughter, and that this daughter would be the sole inheritor of this fortune from this grandfather who owned this winery, this famous European wining business, the Marino Brothers, I think was the name of it. So it was in Sven's best interest to hook up with her because he would inherit, or he would become wealthy by marrying her.
Right.
Hopefully, if she does get included in the will. But we also find out about Michael is that he is an ex agent of MI5.
Mm-hmm.
And which I got a very kind of like an older version of Bond from him. Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Very
yeah,
kind
a little bit.
Suave, dressed very nice, hung around the casinos, drinking.
Well, I don't think
a special agent.
I don't think that you can take a character from Murder, She Wrote and quite elevate it as high as Bond, especially with just one episode, and he doesn't do very much. Oh, well, wait. When they go to meet Sven and Veronica on a boat, there's a little bit of a fisticuffs between Sven and Michael, and they end up falling in the water. Ooh, my goodness, Grandma, that's a little bit too much action for a Sunday night.
Right. Well, because they go running to the dock because Jessica knows that Sven and Veronica went on a boat together. They had made plans earlier in the day. And so she's concerned, like, well, what's going to happen on the boat? So Michael drives her to the dock, and they pull up, and we find out, oh no, Sven has proposed to marry Veronica, and she accepted. And so that's when they kind of tell, like, well, should we tell? Are you going to go honeymoon in the place where I guess he and Antoinette would go have their
Saint Moritz
together?
Yeah,
Saint Moritz.
So they're not the only ones.
Well, hold on. Sven gets scared, and that's when he decides to swim for it. And
where's he going to swim?
I don't know. He just jumps into the water. And that's when Michael jumps in and catches him. Where are you going to go?
I don't know. Maybe the next town over.
You're going to get tired. Eventually, you just stand at the shore and wait for you to swim back.
Even if it was set where they filmed it, you're not going to make it to Maui, sir. No way. You won't be. You're going to be shark bait before anything else.
Yeah.
And they do have sharks there. Anyway, they're not the only ones with secrets.
No,
We've talked to Eric and the elusive Myrna Montclair, who apparently does work there. I don't know. I'm confused. But it turns out they have their own little secret, and that is that they are married. And really what they want to do is they just want to keep their relationship a secret so that they...
Which I don't understand. Why is it got to be a secret?
I don't know. I think because if you're the hotel manager, you cannot have a relationship with a guest or an employee or anything like that. I'm only guessing that would be inappropriate, but I don't know what the rules are. I would have to look. I'd be curious to look that up in a to see if that's a fact that you can't. Anyway, so they're telling this to Jessica, and they're like, he says something like, "Well, you know what? We're just waiting for a good time to retire because money is the key here." Right, and Jessica, a light bulb lights up, and she goes, "Money is the key. Thank you very much, Mr. Brahms. I will be right back." And she runs out the room. And when Jessica knows who it is, she knows who it is. And she knows it is... I'll take it from here, Steve. You take it from here, I should say.
Right. So it is the baggage boy who, when they originally arrived, and Jessica tells him, I have 5 pieces, make sure they're in as good condition as when I came here, when I leave. No?
Well, no, or she forgot her...
No, it was the front. It was the person at the front desk that checked her in. She was the one.
No, it wasn't her. And by the way, that actress has so many credits on IMDb by a lot. More than anybody else probably in this. She's been in a lot of movies. I think they're Turkish movies or Indian movies or something like that.
It was the maid that
No, it wasn't the maid. No. It was the person that you suspected about halfway through the story, you said.
Dr. Johnny Fever?
Yes, it's Dr. Johnny Fever, also known as Sheldon Greenberg, hotel security, because he has what they call a master key.
The safety deposit box, yeah.
Yeah, I had a murder mystery party one time, one that I had in my house, and it was set on a boat. And, it was a locked room mystery. Guy was found killed, and it seemed like the murderer jumped out the window, but where would the murderer go? The ship's at sea. The door was locked, so, what the hell? And we're doing this it turns out none of us thought about the captain, because the captain has a master key. And, at the end, everybody was like, oh, yeah, that's right. The master key. Fuck. Well, Sheldon's been fired. Eric fired him because, 2 deaths and 2 robberies. Actually, at one point, Jessica says 3 robberies, but I don't know where the third one was. That confused me. It certainly
I think what happened before
Veronica. Okay. I thought there... Okay.
Antoinette.
So he's been fired. He doesn't really care because she strolls in there while he's packing up his shit. And he's kind of got this c'est la vie kind of attitude. And she says, she points that it's him. And he's like, oh, there's no proof of that. And the proof that it's him is what I said before, is that Mrs. Crane's key to her safety deposit box was in her coin purse before she died. But after her death, it was on her bedside table, which means somebody took it out, and it must be him, because nobody used it to open her safety deposit box. And since she was wearing paste, her real jewels were stored in the safety deposit box. Now, I posit this to you, Steve. How could all of those jewels have fit in that safety deposit box? Because that box was pretty full when they opened it up after she died.
I don't know. It's a good point.
They should have showed that. They should have showed, there's a space missing in here. Or maybe, they open up and there's they have to shuffle in there because everything's stuck at the back. That would have been a good clue. No, sir. No, I don't agree with the key clue. I dissent, sir. I kindly dissent.
All right. You ready to review it?
Yeah, I guess it's time to review it.
So, tonight had a lot of numbers in the episode. A lot. I mean, I could have pulled from anything, but one in particular I found kind of humorous. So, Sean, 1 out of room 17. It's the room past the cafeteria at Custis Road Elementary School in Davenport, Iowa.
Okay. Out of 17. Okay.
The 17th, room 17, past the cafeteria at the Custis Road Elementary School in Davenport, Iowa.
Okay, out of 17, past the cafeteria in the Custis Road in Davenport, Iowa, out of 17 room, I give this a 7. Not a fan of this episode. This is one of my least favorite things we've watched so far.
Really?
Wow,
I said that last time.
As far as having these people together at this resort, that was pretty good. But it was just, maybe it was because I remembered who the killer was that it was so obvious to me. But the clues, it's just, it was too obvious for me. But the clues also sucked. And the reason is because, they find out this about Veronica and Sven and, their secrets and all that. And then she finds out Eric's secrets and Myrna's secrets. It's like everybody has their own stupid little secret to hide. Oh, but we haven't gotten to the security guy. Oh, his secret is that he's the murderer. That's it. That's it. So, it's sort of like in your head, you're doing the process of elimination, and really he's the only one that's left. So, if this was a full-length movie, you could probably, make it a little bit longer and make him look a little bit more suspicious, because then he would have seemed less suspicious, because you know from the beginning that it can't be Michael Haggerty, because he's just too, it's not going to be the guy that with the questionable background that's bribing the hotel manager, and it's not going to be the hotel manager who's taking the bribes. It's not going to be somebody who is
well, he needed
obviously
money, though. So I think he would have been a really good, but he was so obvious.
That's true. Also,
I didn't like that the single clue to incriminate the killer was a single clue.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
It wasn't a majority of, oh, well, this happened, that's a clue, oh, this happened at this time of day, so the only person available during that time of day would have been... None of that was into play. No. All we know is that whoever had access to the safety deposit box was the killer. Well, it was one guy.
Yeah.
Really.
And, she knows that Mrs. Crane was killed right before daylight, and she doesn't find out that Eric and Myrna have a alibi until right before she confronts the murderer. And then Eric says, well, that was the key to everything, money. And she's like, oh, key! Oh, this is when you thought of it, Jessica? I don't know. But obviously they must have all had fun on location in Hawaii.
Oh, I'm sure. They must have, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I liked it a little bit better than you. I agree. I did. There was many aspects I didn't enjoy, but the one thing that you can say was really good, was really well done for the episode, was the acting. Howard Hessman, who plays the hotel detective, he seemed to do a little bit better. Everybody else seemed to be phoning it in my opinion, except for him. When there were scenes with him, he just seemed to, I don't know, he just seemed more deliver his lines more
casually,
enthusiastically.
like it was almost like.
Well, no, he played it like, I felt his character understood his motives better.
Mm-hmm.
He'd been put down his entire life, but he was just an entertaining person to watch. I don't know. I thought he did a fantastic job. If I'd say out of all the performances, I think his was the standout performance for this episode. I also liked the guy who played Michael Haggerty. I thought he was intriguing, so I'm actually excited to see that he's going to be a returning character. The story, I think, did kind of lack. It was a little all over the place in a way. And really, it was only one clue that really mattered.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give it, so you gave it a 7 out of 17. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 17, yeah.
I'm sorry, we're not going to like every single episode that we watch, and give everything 100%. Yeah. And that's okay,
the other thing I didn't like, and I don't know why it bothered me, but I didn't want to see Jessica play another character.
Yeah.
I don't know why that bothered me so much.
I almost thought when she got out of the car in the beginning that she was that English cousin of hers.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wait, no. She's not introduced until a few more episodes, because this is the first one. What's the one? What's it called? It's right here. Oh, no. Corpse from First Class. No. I take that back.
No.
It's Sing a Song of Murder. That's a few more episodes after this. I'm looking at the season 3 sheet.
It's our second episode,
Yeah. So...
And I will say this, before I started watching the Brittany Murphy stuff, and I decided to watch another Murder, She Wrote, so I watched the very next episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Say Goodbye to Mr. Peabody or something like that.
Yeah.
That takes place entirely in Cabot Cove, by the way. So
we'll get there, Steve.
Cove. Oh, I know. It'll be another 14, maybe 100 episodes from now, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. You never know. We might get there next episode.
No, we can't, because it's season 2, episode 2.
No, it's no. I mean the next episode that we're going to talk about. I mean,
but we're doing season 3, so
yeah. Well, there's episodes in every season that are based in Cabot Cove.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I thought you meant this particular episode.
No. Before we do that, I just wanted to give a shout out to a couple people. First of all, I said that I would read your reviews, and I didn't read them at the top of the show. So, which means people are going to be, I don't want to listen to this. Well, don't. If you don't want to listen to it, don't. But it's pretty good. So, shout out to somebody named Columbo Girl that left us a review, and she said, "You guys are the best. So happy I found y'all." She also left a nice review for the Columbo Confab, and also a big shout out to this person whose name I'm going to mention shortly. This is entitled, "You've Made Me So Very Happy." And she says, and I say she, but I know it's a she. She says, "I'm so glad you are back into my life. I have been re-listening to episodes of the Columbo Confab because I missed you guys when I saw this podcast pop up. I love your style of reviews and interactions, and I'm so psyched to hear more. I love that you don't go on.
We enjoyed the buffet talk at the beginning for 15 minutes, but go on.
I love that you don't go in order because it's nice to be surprised by what pops up. Listening to The Corpse Flew at Midnight and nodding that, yes, just call her Kate. Love you guys. Keep up the good work." And it's signed April PVD. This is a review on Apple Podcasts. So
nice.
April PVD, that's awful specific. So I Googled April PVD. Turns out she has a Twitch account, and she does her own twitching, her own streaming over there on on Twitch, where she specializes in VR games, like with the Oculus. I think she has an Oculus. I have one of those. And she's particularly fond of a game called Population 1, which I'm going to look into because it's a first-person shooter, and I need to use my Oculus more for things other than Beat Saber. And yeah,
how are you liking that?
I haven't used it since before the pandemic. I think it's been sitting in the same shelf forever, and it's just sad. There's just been so many other things that I need to work on, like recording and editing podcasts. So, yeah. All right. That being said, I think it's time, Steve. For
sayonara.
No, it's not
Everybody.
That time. No, it's not that time. Steve.
Mushy mushy.
What do you do at this point?
Oh, we got to pick the next episode.
Yeah, okay. You got to spin the wheel.
You got to get the damn cats out. You got them hooked up to the wheel, I guess, little harnesses.
Well, they've been sitting here for an hour and a half hooked up to the wheel, waiting for you to show up.
Okay, I'm ready to call it quits. And they're like, damn it.
Okay. Spin the fucking wheel, Steve.
Right.
Okay, so we are going to watch... All right. It is called Obituary for a Dead Anchor. Oh, it must be set on a ship, Steve. Obituary for a Dead Anchor. It says, Cabot Cove... Oh, Steve! Cabot Cove becomes a media magnet when a television news reporter is presumed dead on a chartered boat. But Jessica finds there's even more action off camera when the murder turns out to be a publicity ploy by the reporter in order to avoid one of his former sources. That's kind of a spoiler there. But Obituary for a Dead Anchor.
Sounds good. I'm actually looking forward to that one.
Let's see who's in this one. Let's see who's in there. Let's see. This is the fascinating...
Jessica Fletcher.
We know that, Steve. She's in... Well, she's not in every single episode, but...
That's sad. That's actually she's not. There's one where it takes place on a boat. We watched... what was the name of that one?
The Old Glory Lady, or whatever it's called. Let's see. Chad Everett. That sounds familiar. Robert Lipton, Robert Hogan, Kathleen Lloyd, Richard Paul, Robert Pine. These are all people I recognize from somewhere. I just don't know where. Paul Ryan. Huh. Okay. All right, good. So that's what we're going to watch next week. I've got nothing else. So now, Steve, is
now
when
can
you
I say goodbye? Can we put
yes,
the cats
please
away?
now.
Okay.
Yes, please now, for God's sake.
All right.
You
Good
say
night,
it now,
everybody.
Steve. No,
I did. I just did.
You fold the cheese. You fold it. Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Cabot Cove Confab. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at Cabot Cove Confab or email us at cabotcoveconfab@gmail.com.